Hot take. I think Sword and Shield are pretty great. I know, these games have problems and lots of reasons to not think they're so great, but I want to make a video celebrating these games and why I enjoy them so much. And to anyone watching this who doesn't like these games, don't worry, I'll be going over where I think these games miss the mark in some areas. But before I do that though, I'm just gonna give some context as to why I'm making this video. Let's go back all the way to November 2019. I was super hyped for Sword and Shield. For the first time in a long time, some of my friends were actually going to get the game, which was even more hype. And on launch day of Sword and Shield, we went to our EB Games at the mall, right it open, picked up a copy for ourselves, and then went back to my place and literally just played Pokemon for like 12 hours. It was a great day and it was overall a really fun experience. It was the end of me and my friend's reading week, so we had like no responsibilities, and to end it off, we played the new Pokemon, and like I said earlier, it was awesome. We battled, traded, and did so many raids on the first day. The wild area was just so fun to explore and really was a game changer. We didn't even get the first badge until like 10 hours of playing. So yeah, my initial reaction to the game was great. I feel like I would have enjoyed the game a lot less if my day one experience wasn't as good. I had the same save for almost 2 years. I almost completed the decks, did both DLCs, and just played the hell out of my Shield copy. But then the Switch OLED came out and I got it day one because I'm mainly a handheld player and I had a day one Switch and I wanted the upgrade. I know it's not worth it for everyone, but to me I was like, man, I just want this new console. I'm a student though, so I sold my original Switch and backed up all my saves, but Pokemon is Pokemon and you can't back up your games to the cloud, because Pokemon is Pokemon. So I came to the terms that I'd lose my original save, so I transferred Pokemon to home, and as soon as school ended I ran to the mall and ran home and immediately started up a new game of Shield. Upon my new playthrough I realized this game still holds up. Some aspects of it I like better now and some I think are worse than I remembered, so that's why I want to make this video. This game is great, so without further ado, let's go and get into the good. First of all, I think the DLC is an important aspect of what makes this game so great. Obviously, when they first came out, I played them both after beating the game. But I think the best way of playing these games is play Isle of Armor around halfway through the games, or really whenever you want during the main story. And then when you're done the gym challenge and after you did the Isle of Armor during it, you can go do the Crown Tundra for the post game. With the DLC, Sword and Shield are some of the most complete and best Pokemon games. I know, that's probably a really bold statement, but I'm going to talk about the DLC a bit more later. The design of the towns and the cities are almost a 10 out of 10. Almost every town has a super unique design and a lot of character to them. The Galar region has some of my favorite towns in the entire franchise. Some standouts are Stowonside, Hulbury, Balloonlee, Sir Chester, and Modestoke. Unfortunately, these towns aren't perfect because for some reason they're not fully explorable. But from a pure design standpoint, these towns are top tier since they all have unique themes and looks and aren't just generic towns with no real personality. Speaking of good designs, Gen 8 has some of the best new Pokemon out of the recent generations. A lot of these new Pokemon are some of my all-time favorites like Toxtricity, Dracopult, Yamper, Corviknight, Berserker, and Impidimp. But I'll put all my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon here on screen. My only real gripe with the Pokemon is a lot of evolutions should have been 3 stages. Too many are just 2. Like Dreadnought should have been a 3 stage. Like it should have been the little guy, I forget his name, Dreadnought, and then another evolution, or maybe a evolution between the little guy, I'm forgetting his name again, and Dreadnought. And same with like Eldegoss, Bolthunt, a lot of Pokemon here, and it's kind of been a problem with newer Pokemon games as a whole, that there's too much 2-stage evolutions when there should be 3. All the characters and gym leaders are also really well designed and written. I think Hop, Marnie, and Beat are pretty good rivals. I just wish Beat and Marnie were in the story a bit more and added more to the plot as a whole. They kind of just show up whenever and show up at the end. And I really like Leon. He's a cool champion and what a champion should be. He's involved throughout the story and he's always there like as a support, but also like, hey, I'm gonna beat you. And I love Mustard. He's in the DLC, but he is fantastic character and his design is amazing. I also just think these games nailed the whole gym challenge thing. It makes sense that gym battles are huge cultural events, and it makes even more sense to have gym battles in big arenas in a region based off of England. You have these super good like trial-like puzzles before the gym leader fight, and then the gym fight at the end in this huge arena like I said earlier, so it was a really good move. A huge new addition to the franchise that this game brought to the table is the raids. I really liked the raids on my initial playthrough. Me and my friends played a lot of them, but I find they're really only fun with friends, and dear God, do not play these with bots. It's brutal. They're also a really good way to farm EXP candy and TMs, or TRs I guess. The raids are super cool, however as time went on and on my second playthrough I barely touched them, because they get old quick. I guess this is the segue to the DLC because the max layer raids are the superior raids and an awesome way to catch legendary Pokemon. The max layer raids are what the raids should have been in the first place. These are awesome. They feel more like a raid in a substantial journey. I never did these with friends, just random people online, but it's still fun. Not being able to use your own Pokemon is also a really cool and smart move. I like it better than just using your own. It adds more like random skill, I guess, and you gotta be on your toes a bit more. And at the end of each raid, you encounter a legendary, which is a really good reward and honestly one of my favorite ways to encounter legendaries in any of the games. At least with the recent ones, I think it's better than the Ultra Wormholes. I still think like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphires is a little cooler, especially how some of them have like kind of unique spots around the map, but I hope this feature stays around in the future generations, not even just for legendaries, but just as a side feature to do with your friends or whatever in the post game or in the main game. Both the Crown Tundra and the Isle of Armor don't have amazing stories or anything, but the new arenas are really fun to explore. The new wild areas are so much better than the one in the main game, which was great when the games first came out, but now it's just whatever. I barely spent any time on it during my second playthrough. The different environments in the Isle of Armor are great and just, like I said, fun to explore, but the Crown Tundra is a fantastic wild area. I had a lot of fun with both DLCs, even on both playthroughs. The Isle of Armor is great for the Kubfu quests, because I'm a big fan of Urshifu, and the simplicity of the dojo story. It's refreshing. There's not much I really have to say about the Isle of Armor besides it's fun, and seems like a big side quest. Side quests are kind of missing in Pokemon games, so playing it in the middle of the main quest makes it better too, because it feels like a large side quest that, like I said, is missing in Pokemon games, and there definitely should be more of. The Crown Tundra is the post game that Sword and Shield was missing. It has a pretty decent story revolving around Calyrex and Peony, and has multiple legendary quests. Personally, the main things I want out of a Pokemon post game are legendary hunting, which we get with the Galarian birds, the Regis, and the 3 Swords of Justice. A quest, which we get with the Calyrex quest, and some sort of mode that's super replayable, the Max Layer Raids and the Galarian Star Tournament. So overall, the Crown Tundra is just a fantastic and great addition to Sword and Shield. If we didn't get this DLC, I probably would see Sword and Shield in a different light. So yeah, I think these games are pretty great, but they aren't amazing, not at all. The story in this game is just not good. For the majority of the game, the only story is that you have to complete the gym challenge, and along the way you battle some characters also doing the same thing as you. Then as soon as you win the tournament, or like you win the entry to the tournament, I guess, all the story comes piling on you, and it's predictable, but it's so sudden and it seems last minute. Right at the end of the game, you have to fight Alina and henchmen, and it's just bad. It's a bootleg version of the Sun and Moon's plot that doesn't have any of the build-up or quality that Gen 7 had. There's also just no real evil team. Team Yell sucks and don't do anything substantial. And Olina's henchmen, I think like the Star Group? I'm blanking on them and they're so forgettable, but they're just at the end and they're like, you can't come. They're bad. Sword and Shield has pretty great characters, but the story is weak as hell. It's confusing how they couldn't have wrote something with somewhat more story, especially after Gen 7, but maybe that was like a, hey, this was too dialogue heavy. But anyways, these games are also very easy for the most part. Aside from a few hard battles, the game is just a breeze, which personally isn't a huge deal to me for the overall quality of the game, but still, if the games were a little more difficult, it'd be a lot better. And hand-holding is an issue too in this game. There needs to be an option for veteran players so we don't have to do the tutorials, because they're just a slog, and like, I get it, these could be someone's first games, but just leave an option. Say, have you played a Pokemon game before? Everyone says this, and I don't know why they haven't done it. They got close, because if you have Pokeballs in your bag, Leon's like, hey, you don't have to, but I don't know, that you shouldn't have to go out and get an item. It should just be like, hey, do you know how to catch a Pokemon? Do you want to learn how to? Just because there are young people that play these games, but I would say a majority of the players who bought and played Sword and Shield already played a Pokemon game, especially with Let's Go coming out the year before being like a tutorial for new and young players. Dynamax and Gigantamax just suck. Giant Pokemon is weird, and it's a lame concept, and Gigantamax forms are literally just new Mega Evolutions disguised as something less cool. ROM hacks like Radical Red get it. They're just Mega Evolutions, like Machamp, Lapras, Toxtricity, Orbeetle, they're all could just be Mega Evolutions. The G-Max moves and V-Max, oh no, that's a card game, but it's lame, it's not cool, and it's just a gimmick, and they could have just been new Mega Evolutions. Yeah, so I think these games are great. I hope I got that point across somewhat effectively. I know people do not like these games, but I very much do. So I just wanted to throw my 2 cents out there into the very toxic void of the Pokemon community, so I hope I don't get killed for this, but it was kind of just a random thought I had and felt like making a video about it. And I know it's been like a long time since I made a video, but I feel like making videos about Pokemon, and I'm just starting with this one. I think next I'm going to talk about Pokemon Coliseum, and then after the Gen 4 remakes. So if you're interested, subscribe, and I'm also going to get a capture card too. Me and my friends, I think we're going to play some Diamond and Pearl when they come out. And yeah, I've been on the Pokemon train like full time for the last year again. I'm always kind of on the Pokemon train, but last year I was like, I usually play at least one Pokemon game per year, but in the last year I've played so much Pokemon, and I've been collecting the TCG, I guess making videos now, and I just kind of, why not make some videos on it? And with that out of the way, cheers, have a good night, and subscribe to the channel. It's been Chesto, it's been real, have a good evening, see ya.